Oh, what's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, Traxy, a demon Colleen, and I know it's been a while, but I wanted to give an update on the lightspend guide, where we're at now that we're kind of towards the end of preseason, and when we're waiting on waves of intrigue. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. Alright, so as you can see, I'm currently number 1 in arena, and this is the area where we've had the biggest improvement. Now, I had been kind of slacking off. I've been trying to find like a solid mid-tier defense, because what happens is I've either gotten up to like 2 or 3, and then the guy that was at number 1 would consistently bully me to feed off my score, right? So I would feed off everybody that was lower, and then they would feed off me to increase their score. When I could figure out their defense, I would hit them back. And yeah, so it's just been kind of like a lot of back and forth between the guy that was in 1 and me, who was at like 2 or 3. So that's just kind of how it is. It could be the same in your server. Typically, I'm the type that goes like, I'll hit somebody in guild or a friend or something like once or twice, just to get the stuff in, kind of maintain my rank and just kind of like chill out. But if someone's gonna go ahead and 10x me, you better believe I'm gonna 10x them back, because I need to get my score back up. So, what happened was I figured out their defense, with a pretty good win rate, as you can see here. We'll just kind of like show what happened, right? So this is my new defense, right? So they just try to hit me like a ton of times. I hit them back. I figured out their defense. I was crushing it. So I would feed off them. I would get maybe 1 loss, right? But since they couldn't figure out my new defense, yeah, they couldn't get through it. Now, I saw this defense in action, right? So here we had about a 50% win rate with our previous defense, and then our new defense has given us about a 100% win rate. So I had actually borrowed this kind of like from the Pioneer. I saw it in action there. It's pretty nasty. I was able to beat it on Pioneer, but I had to use one of the new heroes, Dunliger, who is not available at this time. So this will be a pretty solid defense for a while. And considering where your whales are at, this may be even like more, but it's going to be a solid mid-tier defense. So I'm just going to show it here. And what we have is we have Freyasto, Damien, Rainer, Lily May, and Scarlita. And our Rainer is only M+ because we only built him up for Dream Realm, and this defense is still really nasty, right? So let's go ahead and show it in action. I mean, they've been kind of trying some of the stuff like similar but different. So they're trying to run my old, it's kind of like, I don't know what that's here. They're trying to run like my old defense against it to try to get it to work, but it's one of those ones that it doesn't look like it would be that effective, but it really is. So let's go ahead and we'll go see it in action here. Alrighty. So as you can see, my team kind of stays right here in the middle of Damien's heal, so everybody's getting healed up, while, you know, Lily May's kind of doing her thing, Rainer does his thing, and then Scarlita kind of crashes down and does her thing, right? So our squad got kept alive, so then it just ends up with Freyasto and Lily May at the end. Right, and there we go, right? And most of the replays are gonna be like that. So it's been pretty solid. So if you're able to build that, if you've been building the heroes that like I recommended, like you build Rainer to M+ for Dream Realm, you already have Rainer. If you watched earlier in the season and you built Scarlita to S+, then you already have a Scarlita. And if you had been building another hero at this time, right, you may have Freyasto built up to S+. He just works best at that level. I got the yellows, I dumped him in, I built him up to +20, so he's pretty darn tanky without any Paragon levels, right? So the only Paragons you saw there were Lily May at 1 and Damien at 1, right? So we have S+, Freyasto, who's +20, You have Scarlito, who's only plus 10, and you have Arena, who's only plus, I think, 5 at M+, and it's a really solid mid-tier defense. I don't really see, unless, like, you know, like, people Paragon up, or people, you know, they, get Dunlinger when he comes out. That may change things, but for the time being, it just works really well. And as you saw, I was running Confining there, just to throw the artifact out there, because I didn't mention it. So that's where we're doing. That's how we're doing in Arena. So it's just like we had the advantage. We figured out their defense. We were able to beat up on them, and then we finally came up with a solid mid-tier defense, right? Because everything's been kind of a mess since Lily May dropped. And I've been trying out different variations. The only thing is I never thought to put Rainer in there, and then until I actually saw it in action, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is actually really good. Let me try it out on my server where I'm having an issue." So we'll go to Dream Realm next. You know, we're still doing here really well. You know, we've been using the new heroes a lot. We've been getting a lot of you. We invested in Mikola. We only built her up to +5, right? Because if you watch my Mikola video, I said she's going to be good going forward. So she's good in the preseason. She's going to be good in season waves. Just been testing her out there on Pioneer. She's in a lot of the comps there, at least on the new bosses. So you're going to use her on Beetle. You're going to use her on Orson. So all the pre-endless bosses. Like, I used her on Lone Gaze for my highest parse. So you're going to see her a lot there. Obviously, Lily May, I don't know how big she's going to be in pre-endless. I haven't been using her that much. I've actually been using Lenya a bit more, but we've only had a few days to test there. It's just that, you know, Mikola's been big. Freya still won't be that big early on. He'll be bigger later. And then this is kind of like because I don't have Tailing, right? And Tailing is going to be huge. So that's kind of like the one area. But without Tailene and Lily May as a second backup, we've still been able to do pretty good, right? So we've always finished. So if we go back here and we look at here, right? So today we're number 1, right? The last boss we were 2. The previous boss we were 1. And then the previous boss for that we were 3, right? And that could just be RNG, comp, EX weapon. Probably just RNG for the most part, right? Because you got to run multiple times. So you kind of want to use all your runs if you can. I'm sitting pretty good at 58, so I may not even bother rerunning. I don't know if I'll be able to get a higher score without T-Lane. So we're still doing pretty good. And again, we just want to make sure that we're still getting that top 10. This is gonna be big. I mean, we'll get seasonal in a few days here, and I don't know how my district is gonna shape up, so we'll have to see and how we do with that and see if we can still get rewards that way. Ravage Realm. So I'm doing pretty decent overall in scoring wise, right? So Aurora has been pretty good for me. Sylvan's squad's my best squad on this mode. Dauntless is doing pretty good. I'm just really lacking in the Immortal squad, and that's just because of the heroes I didn't build early on, or I just don't have, right? So we don't have Cecilia built up, we don't have Raynor built up, we don't have Tailene built up, right? So like the big heroes we would want for this is Burial is really good on this one. We don't have Burial. He's kind of like at the end of the chain settling. He's gonna be bigger next season, but I don't know that I'm ever going to get to build on this account, so I'm not really worried about it. I mean, realistically, for the final ranking, for the preseason side, we just need to be 10, so we're sitting pretty good at 5. I could just touch base on what I'm running, right? So we could just go Immortal, right? So this is what this is when I tried with it, but the best squad for me has been this. Obviously, we wanna run like a Burial here, or Tailene or Cecilia would be the better option, because that's what the #1 people are running. Pretty much this squad, but with Cecilia, since I don't have Cecilia built up, it's not a viable option for me. Dauntless, here's what I'm running that does really well for me. It's gonna be Smoky, Elsa, Mikola, Odie, and Kruger. Now, I could maybe do a little bit better if I had like a Shakir built up, or not Shakira, Seth built up. And then I could throw in like a Mikola, Kruger, Seth, Reese if I had Reese, and Seth, because that's kind of like been like the go-to on the Pioneer server, which is kind of similar, and we have more like access to all the heroes. That's probably who I would run there. To be honest, for Immortal Squad, if I could run it, I would run Thorin, Carolina, Ludo, Taylene, and Burial, right? Those 5. And then I would probably use Star Shard. That would probably be your best bet there. Sylvan Squad, we don't have Lenya. She would probably be a big factor here. We're just running who we have, right? So we're going to use Raynor. We use Florabelle, Lily May, Damien, and Leica, right? So, but if we had Lenya, we would probably go like Damien, Lenya, Lily May, Raynor, and Haywin. And that would probably give us our best score, but I don't know that I'm necessarily going to build Lenya up on this account. And then for Aurora Squad, we have Temesia, Freesto, Corin, Vala, and Marilee. That's just been working the best for me here. I could try, maybe, you know, I don't know that I've necessarily tried with Rowan. I know I had better success. Whoop, that's the wrong one. And so we have better success on Pioneer, because that's, I feel like, an easier place to test, right? So we did something like, I actually did, oh, I have Cassidy. I don't know that she's gonna necessarily be that good. Oh no, I had Sinbad. So we don't have Sinbad, and this is kind of similar to what I ran on Pioneer, except I used Sinbad instead of Temesia, and it did really good. So yeah, I don't necessarily. I mean that did better for me, right? If I go to my Aurora. Yeah, so that worked better for me. So it's just kind of like finding something that works for you and what you have here. So we're still doing good there. Stages we fell a little bit behind on, right? Like first got like this huge lead because we didn't have Caro. I finally got Caro during the Crystal Clash event, and I didn't have as much time, so now that we're towards the end, I'm just trying to play catch up and maintain my top spot, right? Top 5 in that case, right? Because we want to get top 5 in the event for the Infinite Quest, right? So we can make sure that we're getting our top 5 reward, right? And it's, I mean, we're guaranteed at least, I would say, top 10 at this point. But as long as we, like, maintain, right, and just kind of, like, keep an eye on 5 here, right, and just make sure that we, you know, maintain our lead on 5th place, or 6th place, we should be good. Like, I got almost a 50-stage lead on this, so as long as I keep pushing, right, and for the most part, all I'm doing for pushing is I'm not really being, like, too serious, right, for it. So you're going to go in, you're probably going to have all the records there for you. So if you're kind of being casual and you're just kind of doing cleanup at the end of the season, you can just do this, right? This is what I've been doing for the most part. I just go in, copy something, drop whatever I have there, run auto progress, maybe go in, change something up, rerun auto progress, right? So that's that. The other area is going to be Trial of Abyss. That we're concerned with, right? So we got stuck for a little while again, like because I got Caro, I finally got unstuck, and just in testing, it looks like Caro is going to be kind of important for pushing in the next season. So if you didn't get a chance to build her up, kind of like focus her for now. Florabelle's still going to be relevant. We're just not gonna probably use her as much, or you could use her as a sub. It's iffy. A lot of people run Caro. I've been running Caro. Pioneer just because I have her, but I would still maybe on this count I'll run Florabelle on those stages instead just to see if it performs better or worse than. I mean, it's kind of going to be hard to compare to my main account because I do have Carol pretty built up there, and I also do have Florabelle pretty built up there. Right, Carol's P4 there, plus 16. We're going to plus 20 her there. Here she's only like plus 10. Florabelle's plus 10. So they're pretty even here. So here's going to be a good example. You see, I just got like an extra stage running auto. So I'm just kind of like staying on top of that and just making sure I do that just to maintain that top 5 spot for the infinite stages, just so that I can get those maximum rewards. As for everything else, I mean, there's not really a whole lot. I'll be putting out some other guys that are more focused on waves, who to build there, who to go for, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye!